Captain Taho Kim stood tall on the bridge of the UEA's Dauntless. The ship hummed softly around him. Through the main window, he saw the huge alien space station. It was 3 times the size of anything humans had built. "Are we ready for the meeting?" Taho asked, adjusting his blue uniform. Lieutenant Ju-won nodded from his station. "Yes, Captain. Our translators are working well. Dr. Yunji has checked them twice." Dr. Yunji looked up from her screen. She was the smartest person on the ship. Her black hair was tied back, and her eyes showed no fear, only curiosity. "The Vexeri language is complex, but I think we understand it now," she said. "Remember, they value strength above all else." Taho nodded. This was humanity's first meeting with the Vexeri Confederation. They ruled 3 galaxies and had technology far beyond Earth's. But humans had come in peace, hoping to make friends, not enemies. "Let's go," Taho said. "Keep the ship ready, just in case." The small shuttle carried Taho, Ju-won, and Yunji to the massive alien station. Inside, tall creatures with gray skin and 4 arms waited for them. Their leader, Supreme General Gorth, stood in the center. He was bigger than the others, with red markings on his face. "Welcome, humans," Gorth said through the translator. His voice was deep and cold. "Your journey must have been long." Taho bowed slightly. "Thank you for meeting with us, Supreme General. We bring greetings from Earth and the Human Alliance." Gorth's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "Tell me, how many ships does your fleet have?" "We are explorers, not conquerors," Taho explained. "We have come alone to meet you in peace." A low sound came from Gorth, something like a laugh. "1 ship. You travel to meet the mighty Vexari in 1 small ship. Sometimes the best way to show trust is to come without an army," Yunji said. Gorth stared at her. "Female humans speak in meetings. Interesting." Ju-won saw Taho's face tighten, but admired how his captain stayed calm. "Dr. Yunji is our top scientist," Taho explained. "Her knowledge is valued by all humans." "How?" "Primitive," Gorth said. He turned to his advisors and spoke in their language. The humans' translators picked up words like weak and easy targets. For 2 hours, they talked about trade and sharing knowledge. But Taho felt something was wrong. The Vexeri asked too many questions about Earth's defenses and too few about friendship. When the meeting ended, Gorth's final words seemed friendly. "Return to your ship. We will talk again tomorrow." Back on the shuttle, Ju-won spoke quietly. "Captain, they were measuring us, not meeting us." "I know," Taho said. "Yunji, what did you think?" She looked worried. "They see us as prey, not equals." The shuttle docked with the Dauntless, and they hurried to the bridge. As soon as they arrived, the alert system began to blare. "Captain," shouted the sensor officer, "Vexeri ships are appearing everywhere. Hundreds. No, thousands of them." Taho rushed to his chair as the main screen showed the space around them, filling with alien warships. They were surrounded. "They're blocking all escape routes," Ju-won said. "I count over 10,000 ships." The communication screen lit up, showing Gorth's face. He wasn't trying to hide his feelings now. He looked at the humans like they were insects. "Did you really think we would see you as equals?" Gorth asked. "You came in 1 ship. We have ruled thousands of worlds for 3,000 years. We came in peace," Taho said firmly. "And you will leave in pieces," Gorth replied. "Surrender now, and perhaps we will keep some of you as pets." Taho looked at his crew. 157 humans against 10,000 alien warships. The odds were impossible. But he smiled. "Supreme General," Taho said calmly, "you have made a terrible mistake." The bridge of the Dauntless fell silent. Every screen showed the same thing. Vexeri ships as far as they could see. Red dots filled the radar display like stars in the night sky. 10,427 enemy ships, Ju-won reported. His voice was calm, but his hands shook slightly. "They have us completely surrounded." Captain Tahoe stood up. He looked at each crew member on the bridge. Some looked scared. Others looked angry. All waited for him to speak. "Send a message to all decks," he ordered. "I want everyone to hear this." The communication officer nodded. "You're connected to the whole ship, Captain." Tahoe took a deep breath. "This is Captain Kim. As you know, we are surrounded by the Vexeri fleet. They believe that because we are one ship, we are weak. They expect us to surrender." He paused. "They don't know humans very well." Across the ship, the crew listened closely. "We came here in peace," Tahoe continued, "but we did not come unprepared. It's time to show the Vexari what one human ship can do." On the main screen, Supreme General Gorth's face appeared again. All four of his eyes narrowed. "Your time is up, human," Gorth said. "Surrender now or be destroyed." "We need more time to consider your offer," Tahoe replied calmly. Gorth laughed. "You have no more time. Look around you. My fleet has never lost a battle in 3,000 years. We have conquered entire galaxies. What can one small human ship do against 10,000 of ours?" Tahoe smiled. "We can win." Gorth's laughter stopped. "You are either brave or stupid. I will give you one last chance. Surrender now." "No," Tahoe said simply. The alien general's face turned dark with anger. "Then you will die." The screen went black. "They're moving into attack formation," Ju-1 reported. "First wave approaching from all sides." Dr. Yunji rushed onto the bridge. "Captain, I've prepared the systems. We're ready." Tahoe nodded. "Good. Ju-1, how much time do we have?" 3 minutes before they're in firing range." "Perfect." Tahoe pressed a button on his chair. A hidden panel opened in the center of the bridge. Inside was a strange device with a glowing blue core. "It's time to activate Project Thunderstorm." Yunji stepped forward and placed her hand on the device. It scanned her palm, and the blue glow grew brighter. "What is that?" asked a young crew member who had never seen it before. "Our secret," Tahoe explained. "While the Vexari built more ships, humans built smarter ones. This technology harnesses energy from multiple dimensions. The Galactic Concord banned this technology," the crew member said, eyes wide. "Yes," Yunji nodded. "Because it was too powerful, too dangerous. We agreed to never use it." She looked up at the screen showing the approaching Vexari fleet. "But we kept it ready, just in case." Tahoe addressed the crew again. "I won't lie to you. Using this technology is risky, but not using it means certain defeat. The choice is simple." Ju-1 looked up from his station. 1 minute until they're in range, Captain." "Prepare for dimensional shift," Tahoe ordered. All crew to battle stations. The lights on the Dauntless dimmed as power flowed to the new systems. The ship hummed with energy. On the bridge, screens flickered with equations and power readings. 30 seconds. Ju-1 called out. Tahoe sat in his captain's chair and gripped the armrests. "Dr. Yunji, start the sequence." Yunji's fingers flew across the control panel. The blue glow from the device spread throughout the ship. Project Thunderstorm activating now. The Vexari ships moved closer, weapons charged and ready. In his command ship, Supreme General Gorth watched with satisfaction. He had told his commanders this would be an easy victory. One human ship against his massive fleet. The battle would be over in minutes. He was right about one thing. The battle would indeed be over quickly, but not in the way he expected. The blue glow from Project Thunderstorm spread through every part of the Dauntless. The ship's normal lights turned off, leaving only the strange blue light. It made the faces of the crew look ghostly. "System is fully charged," Dr. Yunji said. Her eyes reflected the blue light as she checked the readings. "Dimensional fields are stable." Captain Tahoe nodded. "Ju-1, what's the status of the Vexari fleet?" Lieutenant Ju-1 looked at his screen. First wave is 10 seconds from firing range. They've formed a sphere around us. No gaps. Perfect, Tai-ho said with a small smile. That's exactly what we want. Yunji stepped to the center of the bridge. Captain, maybe I should explain to the crew how this works. They need to understand what we're about to do. Go ahead, Tai-ho agreed. Yunji faced the crew. The Vexari evolved as a hive mind species. Their strength comes from their numbers. They think like one big group. She pointed to the screen showing the enemy ships. That's why they attack in huge fleets, all following the same plan. She walked to the glowing device. Humans evolved differently. We're creative. We adapt. We think in ways no other species can predict. And that's our real weapon. Tai-ho added. Not just this technology, but how we use it. Yunji nodded. This device lets us tap into multiple dimensions. We can bend space, redirect energy, and create phantom images of our ship. The young crew member from before raised his hand. But why did the Galactic Concord ban it? Because it's unpredictable, Yunji explained. It doesn't just affect our ship. It can change the fabric of space itself. That's why it's only for emergencies like this. Ju-won's voice cut through the conversation. They're firing. Outside the ship, thousands of Vexari weapons lit up the darkness of space. Beams of red energy shot toward the Dauntless from all directions. Dimensional shields up, Tai-ho ordered. The blue glow around the ship intensified. When the Vexari beams hit it, something strange happened. Instead of exploding or bouncing off, the energy seemed to sink into the blue field, making it glow brighter. On his command ship, Supreme General Gorth leaned forward in shock. What's happening? Report. His officer looked confused. Sir, our weapons are hitting their ship, but they're not doing damage. The energy is disappearing. Impossible. Gorth slammed his fist down. Increase power. Fire everything. Back on the Dauntless, Ju-won smiled. They're increasing their attack. Just as predicted. Tai-ho turned to Yunji. How much can our shields absorb? With this many ships firing, about 3 minutes worth, then we need to release the energy or the system will overload. Tai-ho nodded. Ju-won, prepare the counter-strike pattern we discussed. Yunji, start the phantom projections. Yunji pressed a sequence of buttons. Outside the ship, the blue field pulsed. Suddenly, there were 5 Dauntless ships where there had been only one. Each looked completely real. The Vexari fleet hesitated. Their sensors couldn't tell which human ship was the real one. What is this trickery? Gorth demanded. His commanders had no answer. On the bridge of the real Dauntless, Ju-won worked quickly at his station. Captain, I've mapped out their formation. I've identified their weak points based on Earth's mountain warfare tactics. Tai-ho raised an eyebrow. Mountain warfare. We're in space, Lieutenant. Ju-won grinned. The Vexari think in 3 dimensions, like most spacefaring species. But humans fought on Earth's mountains for thousands of years. We learned to think about high ground, valleys, and hidden passes. In space, I can apply the same principles to their formation. Tai-ho smiled with pride. This was the human advantage. Creative thinking that no alien could predict. The phantom ships are in position, Yunji reported. Energy absorption at 78% capacity. Good, Tai-ho said. Now let's show the Vexari what one human ship can really do. The phantom ships moved into position, each heading toward a different section of the Vexari fleet. The aliens didn't know which to target first. Their perfect formation began to break as ships moved to intercept the phantoms. Supreme General Gorth watched in growing horror as his carefully planned attack fell into chaos. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something new. He felt doubt. The 5 phantom images of the Dauntless moved through the Vexari fleet like ghosts. Each one looked completely real. The aliens couldn't tell which was the true human ship. Confusion strategy working perfectly, Ju-won reported. His fingers moved quickly across his control panel. The Vexari are breaking formation to chase our phantoms. Captain Tahoe watched the main screen with a calm face. How much energy have we absorbed? 91% capacity, Dr. Yunji answered. The blue glow around her was now so bright it was almost white. We need to release it soon. Tahoe nodded. Ju-1, target their command ships first. Let's cut off the head of the snake. On his massive command ship, Supreme General Gorth was shouting at his officers. His 4 arms waved in anger. Find the real human ship, he ordered. Ignore the fake ones. We can't tell them apart. Sir, an officer replied. Our sensors show they are all real. Impossible. Gorth slammed his fist down again. No species has this technology. Another officer spoke up. Sir, look at this. He pointed to a screen showing the path of the 5 human ships. They're moving in a pattern I've never seen before. Gorth studied the screen. The human ships weren't moving in straight lines or simple curves. They followed a complex path that made no sense to the Vexari mind. What are they doing? Gorth wondered aloud. Back on the real Dauntless, Ju-1 explained his strategy to the captain. I'm using the phantom ships to herd them into 5 groups, he said. It's like how ancient human armies would force their enemies into tight spaces where they couldn't use their numbers. Energy absorption at 98%, Yunji warned. We must release now. Tahoe pressed a button on his chair. All crew, brace for dimensional shift. The blue glow around the ship pulsed 3 times. Then the Dauntless seemed to blink out of existence for a split second before reappearing in a different position. First target locked, Ju-1 announced. Releasing dimensional energy in 3, 2, 1. Yunji pressed a sequence of buttons. The blue energy that the ship had been absorbing shot out in a focused beam. It cut through space toward one of the largest Vexari ships. When it hit, something amazing happened. The energy didn't just damage the alien ship, it opened a small rift in space. The rift pulled in the ship and 20 others around it. Then it closed with a flash of light so bright that the crew had to shield their eyes. In an instant, 21 Vexari ships were simply gone. Energy release successful, Yunji reported. Dimensional stability holding. Ready to absorb more. Tahoe nodded. Begin Phase 2. The phantom ships changed direction, leading confused Vexari vessels into new positions. The real Dauntless moved to a new location, again absorbing enemy fire. On his command ship, Gorth watched in horror as another group of his ships disappeared in a flash of blue light. What weapon is this? He demanded. How can one ship do this? His science officer looked pale. Sir, they're not destroying our ships in normal space. They're sending them somewhere else. Where? Gorth asked. We don't know, the officer admitted. Another dimension, perhaps. They shouldn't have this technology. The Galactic Concord banned dimensional weapons centuries ago. Gorth's eyes narrowed. The humans are breaking galactic law. Sir, another officer spoke up. We did attack them first. Gorth ignored this comment. Order all ships to fire on this position. He pointed to a spot on the map. Their real ship must be here. Concentrate all firepower. The Vexari fleet regrouped. Thousands of ships turned their weapons toward the same point in space. On the Dauntless, Ju-1 smiled. They took the bait, Captain. They're targeting Phantom Ship 3, thinking it's us. Tahoe nodded. Perfect. Yunji, prepare for maximum energy absorption. The Phantom ship stayed in position as thousands of Vexari weapons locked onto it. The real Dauntless was safely hidden elsewhere. They're firing, Ju-1 reported. The space around Phantom Ship 3 lit up with the energy of 10,000 weapons. It was enough firepower to destroy a small moon. But instead of destroying anything, all that energy was about to be redirected. And the Vexari had no idea what was coming next. The combined firepower of thousands of Vexari ships lit up space like a new sun. All that energy poured into what they thought was the real human ship. But it was just a phantom. On the bridge of the real Dauntless, hidden safely away, Yunji's hands moved quickly over her controls. Energy redirection systems online, ready to catch it all. Captain Tahoe nodded. Do it. The phantom ship suddenly vanished. In its place, a blue portal opened. All the Vexari weapons fire flowed into it like water down a drain. At the same moment, 4 more portals opened at different points around the Vexari fleet. The energy that went into the first portal came out through these 4 new ones, but stronger, more focused. Dimensional energy amplification at 400%, Yunji reported. Her face glowed blue in the light of her screen. Just as we calculated. The amplified energy beams cut through the Vexari fleet like knives through paper. Ships exploded or were pulled into small dimensional rifts. In just 30 seconds, over 2,000 enemy vessels were gone. On his command ship, Supreme General Gorth stood in shocked silence. His officers were shouting reports, but he barely heard them. He had never seen anything like this in his 3,000 years of warfare. Sir, we've lost contact with battle groups 7 through 22. An officer reported, his voice shaking. That's over 2,000 ships. Gorth finally found his voice. How? How is this possible? His science officer looked up from his readings. The humans aren't just absorbing our energy. They're sending it through dimensional rifts and bringing it back amplified. Can we stop them? Gorth demanded. I don't know, sir, the science officer admitted. We've never seen this technology before. Back on the Dauntless, the mood was focused but confident. The blue glow had spread to every part of the ship now, making it look like it was made of light rather than metal. Phase 2 complete, Ju-1 announced. Enemy fleet is disorganized. They'd lost about 25% of their ships. Good, Tahoe said. But they still have us outnumbered. How are our systems holding up, Yunji? She checked her readings. Dimensional stability at 78%. We can continue, but we need to be careful. Too much more of this, and we risk losing control. Tahoe nodded. Let's finish this quickly then. Ju-1, prepare for the main strike. Yes, Captain. Ju-1's fingers danced across his panel, creating new phantom pattern. This will herd most of their remaining ships into a single area. The phantom images of the Dauntless reappeared, now moving in a new pattern. Like sheepdogs herding sheep, they began to push the confused Vexari ships toward a specific point in space. What are they doing now? Gorth asked, watching the movement on his screen. They appear to be trying to gather our ships together, his tactical officer reported. It's a trap, Gorth realized. Order our ships to scatter. Break formation. But it was too late. The Vexari fleet, used to following strict battle plans, couldn't adapt quickly enough. Most of their ships were already moving toward the trap point. On the Dauntless, Yunji gave her report. Quantum displacement drive fully charged, ready for the main strike. Tahoe looked at his crew. This is our big move. If this works, the battle is over. And if it doesn't? Someone asked. Then we've just made them very angry, Tahoe said with a small smile. But it will work. Humans are good at beating impossible odds. He pressed a button on his chair. Begin quantum strike now. The Dauntless began to glow so brightly that it looked like a star. Around it, space itself seemed to bend and fold. The ship moved toward the trap point where thousands of Vexari vessels were now clustered. 10 seconds to contact, Ju-1 reported. Everyone hold on, Tahoe ordered. Supreme General Gorth watched as the glowing human ship approached his fleet. He finally understood what was about to happen. Retreat, he shouted. All ships retreat now. But his order came too late. The Dauntless reached the trap point, and the universe seemed to hold its breath. When the Dauntless reached the trap point, time seemed to slow down. The glowing human ship stopped in the middle of the clustered Vexari fleet. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then space itself ripped open. A sphere of blue energy burst from the Dauntless. It grew rapidly, engulfing hundreds of Vexari ships in seconds. The ships didn't explode. They simply disappeared as the energy passed through them. Quantum displacement successful, Yunji reported. Her voice was tight with effort as she worked to control the massive energy release. 500 enemy ships removed from our dimension. Captain Tahoe nodded. Expand the field. Let's clear this area completely. The blue sphere grew larger. More Vexeri ships vanished. Those at the edges tried to escape, their engines glowing bright as they pushed to maximum speed. But the quantum field moved faster than they could fly. On his command ship, safely outside the quantum field's range, Supreme General Gorth watched in horror. Half his mighty fleet was gone in less than 2 minutes. We'd lost over 5,000 ships, his officer reported, voice shaking. Sir, what do we do? For the first time in his long military career, Gorth had no answer. The Vexeri had always won through superior numbers. But now, one human ship was destroying his entire fleet. Sir, his communication officer called out, we're receiving messages from our remaining battle groups. They're asking for orders. Gorth's 4 fists clenched. Tell them to surround and destroy that human ship. Every remaining vessel. Focus all firepower on one spot. His tactical officer looked doubtful. But sir, our previous attacks didn't work. Do it, Gorth shouted. We still have over 4,000 ships. They can't stand against all of us at once. Back on the Dauntless, Ju-1 noticed the change in enemy movements. Captain, the remaining Vexeri ships are regrouping. They're forming a new attack pattern. Tahoe studied the screen. They're desperate now. They'll throw everything at us. Our quantum field is starting to destabilize, Yunji warned. We can't maintain it much longer without risking a complete dimensional collapse. Collapse the field, Tahoe ordered. Recharge our systems. Ju-1, where is their command ship? Ju-1 scanned the area, still at the edge of the battle zone. It hasn't moved. Good. Yunji, can we send a message to the Vexeri commander? She nodded. Communication systems are working fine. Tahoe straightened his uniform. Open a channel. On the Vexeri command ship, a communication officer called out to Gorth. Sir, the humans are hailing us. Put them on screen, Gorth growled. He wanted to see the face of this enemy who had done the impossible. Captain Tahoe's calm face appeared on the Vexeri screen. He showed no sign of stress or fear, despite the battle raging around his ship. Supreme General Gorth, Tahoe said, you have lost over half your fleet. You cannot win this battle. I offer you one chance to retreat. Gorth's 4 eyes narrowed with anger. Never. The Vexeri do not retreat. Then you leave us no choice, Tahoe replied. We did not want this fight. You forced it upon us. Remember that when you tell the story of this day. The screen went dark. Gorth turned to his officers. Is our attack force in position? Yes, sir. All remaining ships are surrounding the human vessel. They await your order to fire. Begin the attack, Gorth commanded. Full power. Don't stop until that ship is destroyed. The remaining Vexeri fleet opened fire on the Dauntless. The space around the human ship blazed with energy beams from all directions. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Ju-1 looked up from his station. Captain, they're using everything they have left. Our shields can't absorb this much energy. They don't need to, Tahoe said calmly. Yunji, is the final protocol ready? She nodded, her face serious. Yes, Captain. But using it means we might not make it back ourselves. Tahoe looked around at his crew. Any objections? No one spoke. They had all known the risks when they joined this mission. Very well, Tahoe said. Activate the final protocol. Let's show the Vexeri what happens when you corner a human. Final protocol activated, Dr. Yunji announced. Her fingers moved quickly over the glowing controls. Dimensional core is shifting to collapse mode. The inside of the Dauntless began to change. The blue glow turned purple, then a deep red. The air felt heavy, as if gravity itself was bending. Captain Tahoe pressed a button on his chair. "This is the captain speaking. All crew, secure yourselves for dimensional collapse. This is not a drill." Throughout the ship, crew members strapped themselves into special seats. They had practiced this many times, but never expected to actually do it. Outside, the Vexeri ships continued their massive attack. Thousands of energy beams struck the Dauntless from all directions. The ship's shields were failing. Shield strength at 30%. Ju-1 reported. "We have 2 minutes before they fail completely." "That's all the time we need," Tahoe said calmly. "Yunji, how long until the collapse is ready?" 90 seconds, Captain," she replied. Sweat covered her forehead as she worked to control the dangerous energies building inside the ship. On his command ship, Supreme General Gorth watched the battle with growing hope. The human ship's shields were weakening. The blue glow around it was fading. "We're winning," he announced to his officers. "Their defenses are failing." His science officer wasn't so sure. "Sir, I'm detecting strange energy readings from the human ship. They're doing something we haven't seen before." "It doesn't matter," Gorth said. "Nothing can survive this much firepower. Continue the attack." Inside the Dauntless, the air rippled like water. Objects not tied down began to float. On the bridge, Tahoe and his crew felt their bodies becoming lighter. "Dimensional field collapsing inward," Yunji reported. 60 seconds to critical point. "What exactly will happen when we reach critical?" asked the young crew member. Tahoe looked at him calmly. "The dimensional energy will collapse into a single point inside our ship. Then it will explode outward, creating a wave that will convert matter to energy." "Will it destroy us too?" the young man asked. "It should miss us by milliseconds," Tahoe answered honestly. "But I won't lie. It will be close." Ju-1 looked up from his station. "Shields at 15%. 30 seconds until failure." "Perfect timing." Tahoe nodded. "Yunji, how much longer?" 30 seconds to critical," she said. Her hands were steady despite the danger. All systems aligned. The Dauntless began to shimmer, as if it wasn't fully in this dimension anymore. Parts of it seemed to fold in on themselves in ways that didn't make sense to normal eyes. On the Vexeri command ship, alarms began to sound. "Sir," the science officer shouted, "the human ship is creating some kind of dimensional singularity. We need to move away immediately." Gorth hesitated. Victory had been so close. "How dangerous is it?" "Unknown, sir, but the energy readings are beyond anything in our records." "Order all ships to pull back," Gorth finally commanded. "Maximum speed." But it was too late. On the Dauntless, Yunji's voice cut through the strange silence that had fallen on the bridge. "Critical point reached. Collapse complete." For a brief moment, the Dauntless seemed to shrink to a tiny dot of intense light. Then that dot exploded outward. A wave of red energy burst from where the ship had been. It moved faster than light, catching the retreating Vexeri ships before they could escape. As the wave touched each ship, the vessel simply dissolved, its matter converted to pure energy. In 27 seconds, every Vexeri ship within range, over 9,000 vessels, was gone. Only Gorth's command ship, which had been farthest away, survived the wave. The energy barely missed them, its red glow fading just meters from their hull. In the center of the massive empty space where the battle had taken place, the Dauntless reappeared. It looked different now. Parts of it were transparent, and it glowed with a gentle white light, but it was intact. Inside, the crew slowly recovered from the incredible forces they had experienced. "Status report," Tahoe ordered, his voice slightly weak. Ju-1 checked his systems. All crew accounted for. Ship integrity at 89%. "We made it, Captain." Yunji looked up from her station, amazed. The dimensional collapse worked perfectly. "We rode the wave's edge exactly as calculated." Tahoe allowed himself a small smile. "Open a channel to the Vexeri command ship. Let's see if Supreme General Gorth is ready to talk now. Supreme General Gorth stood alone on the bridge of his command ship. All around him, his officers were silent. The screen showed only empty space where his mighty fleet had been just minutes ago. 10,000 ships. Gone. The communication screen lit up, showing Captain Taiho's face. The human looked tired but calm. Supreme General, Taiho said, your fleet is destroyed. You have lost this battle. Gorth's four hands shook with anger and fear. What are you? We are humans. Taiho answered simply. We came to meet you in peace. You chose war instead. One ship, Gorth said, still not believing it. How could one ship defeat 10,000? Numbers aren't everything, Taiho explained. Humans learned long ago that creativity and adaptation are more powerful than brute force. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Ju-1 moved to stand beside his captain. Sir, we're receiving messages from the Galactic Concord. They detected our dimensional weapon use. Taiho nodded. I expected that. We'll deal with them later. He turned back to the screen. Supreme General, I want you to understand something important. The alien general looked up, his four eyes blinking slowly. What you saw today was only a fraction of humanity's capabilities. Taiho continued. We have other ships, other weapons, but we prefer peace. We would rather be friends than enemies. Why did you spare my ship? Gorth asked. Because someone needs to tell your people what happened here, Taiho replied. And because humans don't destroy an enemy who can no longer fight. Dr. Yunji joined them at the screen. We're sending you data on the dimensional technology we used. Study it. Understand that we could have used it against your homeworlds, but chose not to. Gorth was silent for a long moment. Then he straightened his tall body. The Vexeri Confederation acknowledges your victory. We request peace talks. Captain Taiho smiled. We accept. We will meet again in 1 month's time, on neutral ground. The screen went dark. Gorth turned to his remaining officers. Set course for home. We have much to report. As the Vexeri command ship moved away, the crew of the Dauntless finally relaxed. Some laughed with relief. Others sat quietly, still processing what they had survived. Captain, Ju-1 said, looking at a message on his screen. The Galactic Concord wants to speak with you immediately. They're not happy about our use of banned technology. I'll speak with them, Taiho said. But first, I want to address the crew. He pressed a button on his chair. This is Captain Kim. Today, we faced impossible odds and survived. Not because we were stronger or had more ships, but because we are human. Throughout our history on Earth, humans have overcome challenges that should have destroyed us. We survived ice ages, plagues, and our own wars. We nearly destroyed ourselves many times, but we always adapted and grew stronger. He paused, looking around at his tired but proud crew. The Vexeri thought that one human ship would be easy to defeat. Now they know better. Now the entire galaxy will know that humanity is not to be underestimated. We come in peace, but we are ready for war. Remember this day. It will be in history books for generations to come. In the weeks that followed, news of the battle spread throughout the galaxy. The story was told on thousands of worlds. How one human ship had defeated 10,000 alien vessels. Some didn't believe it. Others were terrified by the power humans possessed. The Galactic Concord called an emergency meeting. The use of dimensional weapons was a serious violation of their laws, but they also recognized that the Vexeri had attacked first. In the end, humans received only the warning and were asked to share their defensive technology. 6 months later, the Vexeri Confederation signed a peace treaty with Earth. Supreme General Gorth, now High Ambassador, met with Captain Taiho again. This time, they met as equals. There is a saying among my people now, Gorth told Taiho. Never threaten a human. They look harmless until they are cornered. Then they become the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Taiho smiled. We prefer to be friends. But yes, that's a good lesson to remember. Throughout the galaxy, other species took note. Humans were peaceful explorers, yes, but they were also survivors beyond compare. The story of one ship against 10,000 would be told for centuries to come. A warning to those who might think humans were easy targets, a reminder that appearances can be deceiving. A legend of humanity's finest hour.